Welcome back to part 3. Part 2, I didn't really give an intro. We just kind of got directly into it, but since this is the next day, I might as well do a little intro. We're going to be talking about Dr. Sleep from
2019.
Yes, 2019. Directed by Mike Flanagan. So Liam isn't here. He couldn't make it for this discussion because he hasn't seen the film and he's only read about half of the book. So he couldn't make it for this discussion. But so what is Dr. Sleep about, Andy?
Dr. Sleep follows Danny Torrance. I don't remember how many years exactly after The Shining, but Danny is now a grown man now, and he's struggling with alcoholism. So he travels to I forgot where it was. He travels to
Travel the world in the 7 seas.
Shit, that's gonna bother me that I don't know where you travel to.
Alcohol's Anonymous?
It's just a New Hampshire town anyways, but travels to New Hampshire town and joins Alcoholics Anonymous, which actually leads me into that parallel I was going to mention earlier in the discussion with The Shining.
Yeah. Spoilers, by the way. Spoilers for this and The Shining. So if you haven't seen that, here's your warning. Anyway.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
So in The Shining, right? Jack has the interview with Ullman, and that office, the exact layout of the office and everything. And his conversation, and the conversation's not really important, but basically Jack's downfall begins from that interview and on, pretty much.
Yeah, that's where it all starts,
when
kind of.
Goes crazy. Meanwhile, in Dr. Sleep, Danny has the interview with the guy who's running the Alcoholics Anonymous group, and it's the same exact layout of Stuart Ullman's office, which is mainly just like a Easter egg, really. But
I didn't catch that, actually.
I had an epiphany last night when I was thinking about it. From that point on, for Danny, it's all uphill pretty much because he eventually gets sober, finds a place to live, and it leads into him fighting off the True Knot and winning, of course. So I just found it an interesting parallel that office is kind of like the point of no return for Jack and the point of towards a brighter future or redemption, yeah, for Danny.
That is interesting. Yeah, I didn't catch that it was the same type of office. Did it have a window that led to nowhere?
I don't know if the window technically led to nowhere in Dr. Sleep, but it was the same office layout, including the window, I'm pretty sure.
So this film, it's a sequel to The Shining. I remember when it came out, and I wasn't really. I had just recently seen The Shining, maybe a couple weeks before it came out. So I wasn't a huge, I wasn't very knowledgeable about The Shining or anything. I was like, oh, cool, it looks cool, Ewan McGregor and stuff. So I saw it in the theater, and I liked it. And then as I started to like The Shining more, since then I started to think that I didn't like this movie. And then I rewatched it, and I have some thoughts. I'm mixed on it, but how do you feel about this one?
I actually really like Dr. Sleep. I think it's a great sequel that accomplishes what it had to do, balancing the book and the movie version of The Shining and the book and movie version of Dr. Sleep, which I haven't read the Dr. Sleep book, but it kind of just fixes some of the things that Kubrick did that were was different from the book Shining.
Yeah, it's definitely a sequel to like the Shining film and the Shining book. And that's one of my main problems with it because like I enjoy the film. I think it's good, but like I don't really like that they kind of explain a lot of what's going on with like the Shining stuff and the what happened at the Overlook. Like I think that kind of takes away it being a sequel, like a very direct sequel. They even have like scenes in it where they're like recreating shots from the Kubrick film. I think it takes away some of the mystery and paranoia of the first film by like over explaining it and making it like the book is, when I really don't think the film is anything like the book, like I talked about in the previously in the Shining discussion. It's like, I mean, I do think it's good as like a sequel to the book, but it's like also not. So like I don't really know how to feel about that, because like I don't really like some of the elements of it, because it's like they the do they have a name? But the like Rose the Hat and her gang thing, like steam vampires.
Do they
Like
have a
Soul
name?
Steam. Yeah, do they have like like a name of like what they are?
Nah, it's just the true knot. They have um
Like semi-immortal vampires who like suck steam out of people.
yeah, it's alluded to that they're centuries old and shit, and they've been around forever. They've just been feeding off people, or yeah, people who have the Shining, and they typically go after kids because that's when it's at its like
Peak.
peak.
Yeah, because like
Yeah,
there's a thing where it's like Dan, grown up Danny. He says, or there's something about like his shining has kind of like been dulled down from like his alcoholism. So
yeah.
it's like maybe it's kind of like your shining or your shine can be like uh, polluted, I guess, over the years. So maybe like kids, it's like more pure shine, which like to me that kind of cheapens what's so great about the original film. It makes it more of like, it almost reminds me of like in the Star Wars, the Phantom Menace, when they're explaining what the Force is, and they make it as like something that's not really mystical and weird. It's like, I don't know. It's like they explain it too much. It just makes it like, the Overlook Hotel, like in The Shining, it would mean that the Overlook Hotel was just trying to get Danny's shine, because it's like because that's what it is in the book, and that's what the True Nuts are trying to do. So it's like it just makes it too clear to me, and I don't really like that element of it. But like other than that, I do think it's a well-made movie. I think it's pretty entertaining.
But what was I gonna say? I think the film. I kind of. I don't know if disagree is the right word, or like I don't know because I haven't read either book for Shining or Doctor Sleep, but I think the film does a really good job of a balancing act, trying to honor both the movie and the book.
Hmm.
I mean, well, no, that's not what I mean, but like the movie and it being a sequel to The Shining, which is kind of
Yeah, it's its own thing. It's not just trying to be The Shining, which
yeah.
is something I really like. It's definitely its own separate thing. But like, I almost feel like it could have been more separate from The Shining. Um, I don't know. I haven't read the book. I read like a plot synopsis. Maybe I'll talk about that in a little bit. But um, let's see.
Oh, I
Notes to
thought you were
write down.
going to say emails. Um, fuck. I know I want to say more. I just don't know how to lead into it.
Yeah. Dan like locks ghosts in a box in his mind.
Oh
That's
yeah,
that's something new.
I don't. You didn't see the extended director's cut,
Hmm.
did you? But
Yeah, I was
I
gonna ask you. I own the extended cut, but it was on Blu-ray, and I own the 4K of Doctor Sleep. So I was like, you know what? I'm not sure how many times I'm really gonna watch this movie. So I was like, fuck it, I just watched the 4K. Well, what is different in the extended cut? Because like I feel like that might be better. So there are sections of the movie I feel like maybe could have been expanded upon more, especially with Jack, how it just cuts it's like kind of skips over his whole recovery from being alcoholic. It just says like 8 years later or something. Like I feel like that's really a kind of important part of the story, and they just kind of skip over it. Same with like him as he's working in like what is it, like a um, it's like
Hospital.
an old people home or something.
Yeah.
What and like he that's where the name comes from. How he's like he'll like talk to people like before they die and stuff, and they call him like Doctor Sleep. And the guy's like, "What are you? Some kind of Doctor Sleep?" And then like title card pops up.
I don't
But did it like
remember
expand upon that more in the extended cut?
his journey from sobriety to sobriety.
Yeah.
Um, it's actually been a decent minute since I saw the director's cut. Pulled up an article here to help me jog my memory here. I know the scene in the beginning of the movie, which is actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie. It starts off with Rose the Hat, who is an absolutely great character, in my opinion. I love how Rebecca Ferguson plays Rose the Hat.
Hmm.
I thought she was a very intriguing villain. She's very hot
Yes.
also. But the intro sequence where there's this kid that Rose the Hat is talking to, and basically she persuades the kid into going with them so they can kill the kid to feed off of her shining, because the kid has a shining. So it's alluded to from the opening scene that the two not go around hunting kids and possibly adults. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it alludes to the true not kind of hunting people down with the shining, usually kids.
Yeah, but like you pretty much get the same idea from the opening scene without it being extended. Yeah, I'm reading through like what the extra things are. I don't really see
It's
anything that looks like it's like too extreme. Like
um
nothing that was like a whole subplot or something that was cut out.
there's a chapter structure in the movie in the extended version, which I thought was neat actually.
Hmm.
I think it like the way it neatly folds everything into its own little separate area. It doesn't make it feel episodic, it just feels like a really long movie, rather.
Yeah, because it is like 2.5 hours. I think the extend cause like 3 hours.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
whole
actually, it being
movie.
episodic, that's kind of like The Shining was with like the dates and like the times of day throughout the film.
Yeah, but
That's
I
interesting.
think like one of the more critical scenes that I remember being extended is the Dick Halloran's return, because it's Danny and young Danny, because they have that conversation in the beginning of the movie at the bench, where
Oh
I
yeah,
think
that's
they're
interesting because
in Florida.
yeah, that's something that's interesting because I know in the book, I don't think he would be dead because he didn't die in The Shining in the book. It probably played out exactly the same, except for he's just like not like a ghost.
Yeah,
Mm.
probably. I don't know. Or maybe it doesn't matter if he was dead or not. It could have played out with him just having a conversation with Danny from his mind. Because I think, because Danny contacts Dick and tells him to fucking come help him. Well, Dick is vacationing in Florida in the first place, like in the first movie.
Yeah, he like calls down and like in the film, there's that great scene where he's like laying
I
in his
mean,
bed and you see music and it's like zooming in. Yeah.
that's a big like plot device in this movie. I mean, with Abra and Danny.
Abracadabra.
Yeah, contact each other over a long distance, and the True Knot hunts down people because they can feel their presence over long distances.
Yeah, they're kind of like I don't know what is like pen pals back and forth. They're like writing on Dan and Abra. They're like she'll like write on like his chalkboard from like however far away or whatever. That's kind of an interesting element of it. Then
Um,
like at the one part, I forget. I think it's when she sees the Jacob Tremblay. I forget his character's name, but like the little boy Jacob Tremblay
yeah,
getting like brutally killed, which is a pretty good scene. It's pretty intense, Gotta appreciate like
I believe
on
that's also
screen child death.
in the director's cut. It's a bit more violent in the director's cut.
Yeah, it's mostly off screen, but like you can very much tell what's happening, at least in the cut I saw.
Yeah,
And it's like you see, it's like really like when like in his chalkboard thing, I think it was in that scene. I might be wrong, but like it says like murder, and like he looks in a mirror and it says red rum, and then it
yeah.
turns around and it actually just says murder. Like I thought that was interesting because it's like she didn't write red rum, but it's just he saw red rum, so it's like a nice little reference to The Shining. And like there are a lot of references to The Shining throughout it. But like I never felt like it was too much. Like I never felt like it was. I mean, maybe some of the later scenes, but like it
I
felt like it
think
was its own
every
thing for the most part.
callback to The Shining was pretty well done. I mean, of course, the climax or, well, finale of the movie happens at the Overlook, which we'll get to, but
Mhm.
I wanted to say that I think Carl Lumbly, that's the actor that plays Dick Halloran in this movie, did an excellent job.
Yeah, I really liked. I liked all the actors that were playing the characters. There's the guy playing Dick. I forget the actor's name, but whoever it was playing Wendy,
Yeah,
who was basically doing like a Shelley Duvall impression, which I thought was really good. I thought she did it very well, and I like that a lot more. And same with later in the film.
there's
Um,
Henry Thomas, I think that's his name.
but the guy playing
Jack.
Jack, you know, when he's at
Yeah,
the bar, like instead of Lloyd, it's
Henry
pretty much the
Thomas.
same scene. I really like that they didn't do CGI. They didn't CGI him to look like
Yeah,
plastic versions. I like that. I mean, it is like it doesn't completely look like them, but I appreciate that they didn't do that stupid like they're gonna CGI it and
yeah.
it looks like complete garbage.
um, what was I gonna say along with that? Oh yeah, Henry. Fun fact: the guy who plays Jack in Doctor Sleep is the fucking kid from E.T. And
It is. What the fuck?
yeah, you didn't know that?
I didn't. I've never seen ET.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I don't fucking remember anything, but yeah,
It is
it's
Henry Thomas.
the
Interesting.
kid from E.T. who is
Apparently, he was in
he
Haunting of Hill
worked with
House and Bly Manor as well.
he's in fucking Midnight Mass too. So
Oh, he's
he
in. It looks like he's part of like the kind of the Mike Flanagan gang of actors. He was also in Gerald's Game and Ouija: Origin of Evil.
yeah,
Um,
which I
yeah,
find very cool.
yeah. I know you really like Mike Flanagan as director, right?
Yeah, I do. I think I haven't seen his older movies, but everything from like Hill House and on, I've seen pretty much, except for Hush.
Hmm. Yeah, I like. I think he's one of the more interesting horror directors because he definitely has a very distinct style. Even though I'm kind of mixed on his films, like I really enjoyed Haunting of Hill House and Oculus, and this is also pretty good. But I didn't like Hush, Absentia, and Bly Manor. I thought those were a little bit meh.
I
Um,
mean, he wasn't really that attached to Bly Manor. It was just mainly he
did he
was a
direct it?
producer. I think he directed like the first episode. That's it.
Oh, I thought he directed the whole thing for some reason. I'm stupid.
Nah, it was a whole bunch of fucking directors. I don't know their names.
Hmm.
Which is, I mean,
I want to see Midnight Mass. I heard it's good.
yeah, it's all Mike Flanagan for Midnight Mass, and you can definitely tell because Mike Flanagan has that significant style, especially with the lighting and Mike Flanagan stuff. The way he uses lights is very distinct, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's almost got like
I don't know
a
how
little
to
bit of
describe it.
like a Fincher look to it in a way. Like David Fincher, a little bit, I think.
It's like if you squint your eyes and look at the light, that's what it kind of looks like in his movies.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely has a distinct Mike Flanagan look to it.
Like the
There's also
lights are
some
soft.
there's also some scenes that are especially towards the end. There's like that signature thing that he has in a lot of his stuff, where like a whole bunch of like group of like dead looking people with like weird eyes are like surrounding someone. I noticed that that's been in several of his things. It was in this. It was in Hill House. It was in Oculus. I don't know.
Oh,
That's just
and
I guess it's something
I
he
need
likes.
to see Oculus.
Oculus is good. I like Oculus.
I like it was at the time where I was just not. I was into film, but I wrote off horror at the time. I don't know why, because I'm stupid and now it's my favorite fucking genre, but I just kind of wrote off at horror movies that that's just stuff people went to see at the theaters to laugh at.
Hmm.
Yeah. But anyways,
It does have good cinematography, but it doesn't. It's nowhere nearly as good as The Shining cinematography, in my opinion. I don't think it's like it's good, but it's not even close to like as good as The Shining, in my opinion.
it's yeah, I wouldn't say it's as good as The Shining, but
It's going for something different.
I think it's pretty good in Doctor Sleep. Because I remember earlier in the film when they meet the new girl that the True Knight is bringing along after they discover her, that beach sequence when they're on the beach and they're giving her a taste of um the
Steam,
life
Soul
essence.
Steam.
Yeah, the soul steam from one of their victims.
Oh yeah, fun fact. The actor of her, I think her name's Snakebite Andy. I think was her name. Hold up.
I don't remember the name
Yeah.
actually.
She was the actor of one of the characters as a kid in Enter the Void. I always bring up that movie, but yeah, she was like played like a little girl in that. I don't know how old she was. Probably like I don't know 4 or 5. So that's interesting.
Speaking of actors who have been in different things, the fucking um the tall guy in the True Knot, I don't remember his name, but is the fireman from Twin Peaks season 3.
Yeah, yeah, we brought that up in the uh our catching up episode. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And of course I think I brought up Robert Longstreet is his name, who also works a lot for Mike Flanagan,
Hmm.
who I think is underrated as an actor in general. I think his best role yet is in Midnight Mass. But
Yeah.
anyways, going on between like just talking about Doctor Sleep and the differences between the two cuts. There's the extended cut. In the extended cut, I mean, there's a scene where Abra is playing the piano and they like hear the same song playing the piano downstairs while she is asleep. And they investigate it and they see that the piano is playing itself. Basically, Abra is playing it in her dreams, which is a very neat detail. It kind of explores her powers a little bit more than just
Hmm.
a, I don't want to say spoon, but like utensil scene.
Oh yeah, when they're all like stuck to the ceiling.
Yeah,
Um, I will say I don't really care about the whole Abra storyline, which maybe isn't good because that's a huge part of the story. I don't really care. I just care more about like what's going on with like Dan and like the True Nazi, them doing their thing, and like even though it all works together, I don't really care about that Abra character. It's just like I never really. I feel like it's kind of a cliche. Like she's kind of like extremely powerful or whatever, like the very powerful child. I feel like that's kind of a cliche. I don't know. I don't really
I
care.
don't know. I mean, I understand the cliche part, but I feel like this movie did it better than a lot of movies do. But anyways, as I mentioned before, the baseball sequence is extended, and the director's cut, and it's a lot more gruesome.
Oh, when the Jacob Tremblay gets brutally murdered.
Yeah, poor Jacob Tremblay, who does a fantastic job in the very little amount of screen time he has.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the Shining episode, compare like the apparently Danny Lloyd not knowing he was in a horror movie to Jacob Tremblay getting like fucking disemboweled or whatever they do. Kind of funny. Um,
Yeah, it's a lot gorier in the director's cut.
yeah, yeah, it's a good scene. Yeah, I don't
And
really I
it
can't
hit
take the
harder.
I can't take the sucking the steam like the huffing steam thing. I can't really take that seriously. It's like whenever someone dies and they're doing that, it just I don't know. It just seems kind of goofy to me. Um, I don't know. I can't really take that seriously.
Um, I don't know. It works for me. It's not like terrifying to me or anything, but like I get it. I don't I don't find it off-putting. Um,
They're like vampire crackheads, except for it's soul
yeah.
steam.
Apparently, Abra's dad. I don't remember this exact detail, but Abra's dad learns about the baseball boy and defends his daughter. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
do remember this. It's a bit more elaborated on in the director's cut.
yeah, because he's like mad that she's talking to Dan, right? I forget.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I mean, it does look suspect. Fucking old guy shows up to talk
yeah.
with a child.
Fucking get Chris Hansen up in here, you know?
Yeah, and then the dad gets murdered in the film.
It is a bit odd that they would not that they would stay in their house when they like do the trick when they like trick them and like the whole True Knot gang. They go out to like find her in the woods, and then she's just like kind of like projecting herself over there. It's kind of odd that they would stay in their house. Like, I mean, it seems like that would be kind of because the guy just like walks in and like kills the father.
It's
Um,
just the father alone. I think the mother is at work. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the scene when there's kind of like a shootout, which is like a bit unexpected. I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
expect
you
to
see
see a
that.
shootout, but like I like that scene. It's good. And like who is it? I think it's the uh,
It's
Snakebite Andy character. She tells the friend to like kill himself. That's kind of like
oh
a
yeah, the friend is I don't remember the actor's name. Fuck. But he's a famous indigenous New Zealand actor.
hmm.
I think he was in Star Wars too, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not Star Wars. Maybe don't ignore me. Anyways, um, there's more Dan and Jack in the extended cut. Like the conversation's a bit longer, and
Yeah.
I think that's generally the main differences between the two.
Okay, so it's basically like there's some extended scenes.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's not there's not like a huge. Oh, okay. So I was just all right. Yeah, even though it's like 2.5 hours long, I don't think it ever really drags. I think it goes by pretty quickly.
Yeah, it does a very good job of I don't want to say padding, but like using its runtime to its advantage.
Let's see what happens in the movie. They like the True Knots find Abra, and then they take her, and then like wait, yeah, they take her, and then she like escapes somehow. She like Dan like kind of like possesses her or something, and like makes him crash the car. And she escapes, and then they go up to the Overlook. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then like once they get to the Overlook, I think they kind of do too many of like the kind of like uh, uh, Shining references, like the same shot of like them driving there, then like the shot of like Dan looking through the extra door. I mean, that's not exactly the same. Maybe that one's not that bad, but like when Rose like walks in, Rose the Hat, Rebecca Ferguson's character, she like walks past the elevator and she sees blood coming out, and it's like, yeah, but why would she see that? That's not just like there's always blood in the elevator. That was something very specific to the first movie with Danny, you know?
I
Like
never
I don't know, that was a
remember
bit
that.
odd. Or like when Rose is in the maze, there's like kind of a reference to like when Jack's in the maze, or obviously when Rose is like walking up the stairs towards Dan and he's like walking backwards. It's exactly the same as like the scene with Jack and Wendy. Um, I think the guy with the like cracked open head shows up and says "Great party." Does he say that? Does
Um,
he say that here? I have that in my notes,
I'm
but I don't remember
pretty
that.
sure he's probably there because the old fucking caretaker from The Shining is there also, along with Jack, of course, but and the twins are there, but I mean it's all different actors, of course.
Yeah.
But like,
Of
if
all
you're not
things,
looking for them, you probably wouldn't notice them because they're just presented as the ghost of The Shining. I mean, not Shining, the Overlook.
yeah, all the like kind of Shining references, it kind of reminded me of the movie Trainspotting 2. I'm not sure. Have you seen either Trainspotting movie?
I have not.
No. Which also has Ewan McGregor as the main guy. But like in that sequel, it's like there's a lot of parts. It's an entire different story. But like they have a lot of stuff where they just kind of reference the first one, but it's all just like kind of like a visual thing. I don't know. I don't know why I
I
specifically
feel
thought of
like the
Trainspotting 2. Um,
sequel, like, really just came and went, even though it got, as far as I'm aware, a good reception.
there's also a fake-looking dead baby that shows up, kind of like in Trainspotting. So
I just, I just felt like the reception, or I don't know, I felt like Trainspotting 2 was going to be bigger than it was. It was like, oh, it's here and it's gone.
yeah, I like that film. I don't love it. I think it.
I think
I'm not.
people
I'm not reviewing Trainspotting 2, but like it's just kind of. It's a good movie in its own right, but it's not nearly as good as the first one. I don't know.
I
I
guess
kind of feel the same with this, to be honest. Um, let's see what else.
there's
Um,
the scene where Abra meets Rose the Hat and makes herself known to Rose the Hat at the no, it's not the grocery store. It's Rose the Hat, and she like digs through these files
yeah,
on,
it's like the like inside her mind, and she's like, I
yeah,
like when it like slams it shut and like degloves her hand. That was kind of cool.
great scene.
Yeah, that whole
And
part when like Rose is like flying like through like, she's like floating, and she like floats like down over
oh
like
yeah,
into her room.
really
That was cool. I like that.
cool shot scene.
Cool
It's
visual.
oh, this movie's more like it's less horror in my
Yeah,
mind
it's
and
yeah, it's
more
not really.
like dark fantasy, I guess you can call it.
Yeah, like there are horror elements, of course, with like the stalking
Mhm.
and like murdering children, but like I don't know, it doesn't. It never really feels like it's trying to be uh like
Scary.
scary, and it never feels like it's trying to be like The Shining, where it has like that atmosphere of like dread and paranoia.
Yeah.
Um,
Which I think
but
works to its benefit
yeah,
because I
but like,
think copying The Shining for the second film would have been eh.
hmm, um, I forget why did they go to the Overlook Hotel again?
Um, shit. Um,
Because like
that's
all the
trying
like
to take. They go there because it's a very powerful place, and it's where Danny figured he could take Rose the Hat and basically kill her there. Because his whole plan was to let the hotel kill her, and that's what happens, really.
yeah, but like they go there and then like pretty soon after they get there, the hotel like kills her. But like that's not how it worked in like The Shining. This is like playing by the same rules, I'm guessing, as the original Shining movie did, since it is a very direct sequel. It's not like they made like Doctor Sleep and just adapted it from the book and like have this vague like it's not actually a sequel. It is a sequel to The
I
Shining.
felt like it more went for the book adaptation than just a sequel to The Shining, personally.
Yeah, it's both, but like I don't know. It's like kind of odd that like all the ghosts would just like show up and like consume Rose, and they like kind of like possess Dan as well, right? Like kind
Um,
of
yeah, it almost happened, but then learns to release the monsters that he's locked in his head. As you mentioned before, he kind of like locks these things in a little, like, these chest, if you will, in his mind. So he like basically unlocks all of them and helps, and he uses them to help take down Rosa Hat.
yeah. The thing when he becomes like possessed and like chases Abra, I looked it up. I read like the plot description of Doctor Sleep, the book. So I guess spoilers for that, even though I haven't actually read it. That's not in the book. And see what that is pretty much is just like kind of I'm not. It's not really a reference, but it's like they take the storyline from the ending the Shining, where Jack becomes like possessed and chases Danny. They even have the same scene where she like confronts him. I talked about it a little bit in the when we talked about the Shining in part 2, but I don't really think it works that well because like in the book, it's like in the Shining when Jack does that, it's like that's the whole. I don't know. It's like Dan kind of is like kind of a stand-in for Jack in this. Like he's kind of goes through the same arc, like recovering from the alcoholism and going up to the hotel and becoming possessed. But like it doesn't have the same like emotional weight as the book did, and like I don't really think that section of it works. It just feels a little bit cheap to me. Maybe it's just because I'm looking into it the comparison too much. But like that not being in the book of Doctor Sleep, I feel like they wanted to make it like kind of like the Shining book, you know, because like I don't know. It just it doesn't really.
I didn't take it like that at all. I read it like not Jack. Danny gets possessed because of the hotel, not because he's going through the same arc as Jack. He's going through
He's not going through this. Yeah, he's not going through the same arc. It's just kind of like there are elements of like the you know, like we said in the Shining discussion, like Jack's alcoholism is like it's barely brought up at all. Like that's not really a huge part of it. So like it's like they're taking parts of Jack's arc in the Shining book and putting into here, like him, you know, recovering from the alcoholism and you know, getting possessed and stuff. But like, yeah, it's not he's going through the same arc. It's not like they're just taking that part and using it. It's like I don't know. There's just parts of it, and I don't think it works as well, especially if that wasn't in the original Doctor Sleep book.
Wait,
I don't know.
Danny isn't an alcoholic in the book?
No, he is. Him getting possessed and chasing Amber thing. I don't know.
I just read that as the hotel was now after they got Rose was going after Danny because he's back.
Yeah.
And the hotel knew he was back. But anyways, that's the point in the movie where he realizes that the hotel needs to burn down, which is how the book Shining ends.
Yeah.
So it's their way of finally getting rid of the Overlook. I keep calling it the fucking Shining for some reason.
Yeah.
It's their way of getting rid of the Overlook, and so Danny locks himself in with the boiler room and burns down the Overlook.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how much more I have to say about this movie. But
yeah, I mean, after that, there's a scene where she's talking to Dan's projection, just like Dan spoke to Dick.
Your audio sounds a bit wacky.
My phone was a bit away from me.
Oh, okay. But yeah, she sees like Dan kind of like appears to Abra, kind of like I guess like how Dick was like appearing to Danny.
Yeah,
he kind of has that same like I don't know role or whatever, and oh yeah, it kind of has like a positive ending, which I know Stephen King really liked this movie. He said that it kind of resolved a lot of the issues he had with the original Shining as well. So that's good. So like King liked it, but like I really don't think Kubrick would like this movie because I think it does. I think it takes away a lot of what the Shining was going for, yeah, and like it kind of being a sequel, you know, but like you know more of a sequel to the book or whatever. But let's see, what other notes do I have? Do you have much more to say about this, or should we wrap up the discussion?
I don't really have that much more to say.
It's kind of weird how it jumps 8 years, and the guy that helps Dan, like you know, he like brings him to the Alcoholics Anonymous and stuff. He looks like exactly the same.
Oh yeah,
That was a bit.
people don't age, didn't you know?
Yeah, maybe he was originally going to be a twist villain, and he was like actually one of the steam vampires. So
No, that would have been very cheap.
I know, I'm kidding. I don't know. For being like a sequel to The Shining, uh, it could have been like really bad. Like I'm imagining like a really basic like haunted house type movie made in like the '90s with like a rapper or something in it. That's called like The Shining 2 Bloodline. Anyway, um, yeah, I would give this like a 6 out of 10. If I were to, yeah,
Wow.
like I don't love it, but like I don't really hate it either. Like some people hate this movie and some people really love it. I'm pretty much in the middle. There's just a huge chunk of the story I don't care about, and like I said before, I think elements of what made The Shining so good are kind of cheapened if you're saying like this is like a direct sequel to it, which I don't like because I really love The Shining. It's one of my favorite movies ever. Um, I don't know. It's good. It's solid. I think um, it's definitely the best sequel to a Kubrick film I've seen. You know, cough cough, 2010, Space Odyssey. It's not a very. It's a pretty terrible movie. 2010 is. Is it called a Space Odyssey? Hold on, let me look this up. I don't think it is.
It's called Space Odyssey.
No, it's just called 2010.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
2010 sucks. Fuck 2010.
I know there's several book sequels, but
Yeah, but the movie is bad. It's not very good. It's boring as fuck.
so it's not like the sequel was just there to capitalize upon the movie. There's like 5 or 5 book sequels.
Yeah, but like, I didn't Kubrick change the book? Didn't he like change like the ending? I'm not really sure. I haven't read the book.
Yeah, he changed it because all of his adaptations were kind of loose adaptations.
How would you rate this one out of
I
10?
would I gave it I would give like the regular version of the movie probably like an 8 out of 10.
Hmm.
The extended cut a 9 out of 10.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to see the extended cut at some point. I don't think it'll change my view on it drastically or anything, but I'd still like to see it. Yeah, I can see why you like it, but I'm just not really into it. I don't know, it's fine, I guess. Um, I have a few notes about the Doctor Sleep book. I kind of want to talk about this with Liam, but he's not here, so maybe we should just skip this over because I haven't read the book. I haven't read any of it.
Yeah.
But there are a few points that are a bit interesting. Um, Apparently in the book they're like steam. I'm just gonna call them steam pyres. They're like steam vampires. Steam pyres. That's stupid. They're like dying of measles.
Oh.
They
Okay.
like they like sucked the steam out of like a kid with measles and then got measles. Sounds kind of stupid, but okay. For being
Unfortunate.
like a
Okay.
apparently let's see what else. Abra predicts 9/11.
That's touched upon in the movie, but it's kind of a throwaway line.
I didn't catch that in the movie.
It might have been just a extended cut thing then.
Also, let's see. Dan goes to see like Abra's mother, who is dying, and she tells him that Dan is actually Abra's uncle. I think it's like she's like his half sister or something, because like Jack was her father. I think that's what it was. At least that's what it said in the Wikipedia plot description. So I guess
What?
like Dan's Abra's like uncle in it. So I guess that's why she is such a strong shine. Uh, I don't know. I haven't read the book, so maybe I'm messing something up. And then Dan, like as she's like dying, he consumes her like cancer steam because she has cancer. Then he like gives that to like the steam pyres, and they all like get cancer and die. Apparently, because they consume the cancer fumes. um, I don't know. I might be wrong about this, but this is what it said in the Wikipedia thing. Also, apparently, Jack's ghost like teams up with them and helps them because like they go to where the Overlook was, but it's not the Overlook. It's like a campsite or something.
Yeah.
So like they do go there because like that's the one thing I was like, I was really wondering like how that all played out with the Overlook being burnt down in the book. I mean, I might read this at some point. I'm not that interested, but like I might because I really like the Shining book. And yeah, there's none of like the Dan being possessed, and he doesn't die either. So that's interesting. But yeah, he kind of like makes peace with like Jack's ghost, which is a bit odd, but considering like how the book ends. But okay, that's about all I gotta say about the book because I haven't read it. So I would give what I read about the book a 6.5 out of 10. I'm just help me out over here.
I don't know. There's not much else to talk about with the movie or book.
Yeah,
I
that's
nothing
about
else
it.
to say. We can just move on into the questions.
Okay. So there we kind of finished our huge Shining mega episode where we talked about everything Shining related. So that was fun. But all right. So question time. If you want to ask your own questions, you can leave them in the YouTube comments section, or you can join one of the Discord servers and ask in a podcast channel because we have those there in the Discord servers that are linked. First question from Chief Drip. So shout out Chief Drip. If you were on your deathbed and you had one last movie you could watch, what would it be?
Ooh,
Logistics, so I can just live for an extra month. Nah, I wouldn't choose that. That would be boring. I would die of boredom.
One movie for my deathbed. One last movie.
So, am I dying like now? Am I like dying like right now, or is it like I'm an old man? Because like I want to say like Enter the Void, but like if I was an old man, I might like die midway through Enter the Void because it's. Let's just assume it's like I'm dying now for some reason. And I have to choose my last movie.
What do you mean dying now?
Well, like if I'm like 98 years old and I'm on my deathbed, I might not want to watch Enter the Void, you know, because like I don't think old people like Enter the Void. So like I'm gonna assume that I'm not like old or like extremely frail. I want to be able to watch whatever. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's just like if you had like the time and nothing is going to interrupt that time you have to watch one last movie, what would you choose?
I want to choose something that's like a real experience of a movie, you know? Something like 2001: Space Odyssey or like An Elephant Sitting Still or something like that. Or like A Brighter Summer Day by Edward Yang. That would be a good one.
I don't know if I want to go with like Possession. That'd be a very bleak way to end my life.
Fuck it.
It sounds like I'm killing myself, but I would want to watch something I know and love. I think actually no, I'd go with like Interstellar probably
That's a good one.
because I feel like Interstellar has a bit of hope
I
behind
would
it.
choose An Elephant Sitting Still because it's the most depressing, bleak thing I could possibly think of, and it's very great and it's long, so I'd get like an extra like 4 hours. So, yeah, I'd go Elephant Sitting Still.
All right.
All right, next question from Heisenberg. So, shout out Heisenberg out here making that good meth, that pure shit. Am I right? Do you ever plan to make movies in the future or be part of movies in some way? Damn, I wish Liam was here because I know he wants to. Anyway,
Like
what?
hopefully, but I don't know.
I considered trying to go to like film school, and become like a director or something. But like, I really don't think I'm enough of like an artist in quotes to do that. Plus, it would be like really hard to get anywhere in the film industry. I don't know. I might try and make like short films just like independently or something at some point. I'm not sure. Yeah, but yeah, I don't plan on like I don't have like great dreams to be of becoming like the next Stanley Kubrick or something. Because I am a talentless hack.
For me, I would like to, but it's kind of hard to get a footing in the industry, so I don't know if it would ever happen, but it'd be very cool if it could happen, if I could like make the movies I want to make, because I do have a lot of ideas. But yeah.
Top 10 ways to get into the film industry. Be related to Francis Ford Coppola. That's it. All right. Let's see. Next question from Who Man. Human. All right. Are LGBT plus characters? Wait. Are LGBT plus characters being overused in series and movies for making series and movies more relevant to a larger audience?
What?
Like
Okay,
gay
let me
characters?
reread the question.
Are
No, it's like
LGBT
the
plus
movies
characters
for making series movies.
are being overused in series movies for making series and movies more relevant to like? I think what they're trying
Okay,
to say is like,
okay.
are they? I would say.
It was
I
a very
mean,
oddly worded question, but I know what you're saying now.
yeah.
Um,
I would
I
say it's only if they're putting in. There is definitely stuff where they try and force in, LGBT plus characters into it to be inclusive in some way and show it's like in the same kind of way something that would have like a it's been like like the token black character or a token Asian character.
I
But
feel
in
like
general, I don't think there's anything forced about having LGBT plus characters in it, as long as that's not their entire purpose. It's not like,
I
all right, we have the gay side character because we're being progressive. If it's not forced, I don't think there's anything that's yeah.
I
If
think
there's more characters that are more diverse and stuff, I don't
has
think there's
a
anything.
problem with taking characters that are not LGBT or a different race and making them that race, which I feel like it'd be better for representation if you took original characters that are just like inherently gay or straight or
Oh, do you mean like how they're saying Superman is bisexual?
I mean, I don't really care if he is or not, but like I feel like it
It's forced to just say that to try and make it relevant. Yeah, yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like
I don't think there's anything wrong with having diverse characters in something. It's more of the way they're used in it. Like if it's their
yeah,
entire purpose of being gay is just to be like, oh, inclusive and we're throwing it in. That's stupid and it's forced. But like, yeah, if that is part of their character, I don't think there's anything really forced about it. Um,
yeah, I agree.
Also from Human, is it pronounced GIF or GIF? It's GIF, you
GIF,
fucking animal.
hard G, GIF. Next,
GIF. Next, from Mav, if you were to reboot a horror movie, which movie would it be, and who would you cast as the leads? I don't know.
I would reboot Hellraiser because we need a fucking new good Hellraiser movie, in my opinion.
Do we though? We have the original.
I like the original, but technically you could make it a sequel. I'm not saying remake the original. I'm saying like make a sequel, but yeah, just make a fucking good Hellraiser movie again.
I would reboot The Silence of the Lambs and have Armie Hammer as Hannibal Lecter.
I'm trying to think of any other movies that might need a reboot. Maybe something that wasn't particularly great but had good ideas.
I feel like we answered a question like this similar, or I feel like we answered a similar question like this at some point. Well, it's like a.
Hmm.
How about like a? We can. How about like a remake of like Microwave Massacre and have like Daniel Day Lewis in it? That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, just remake a bad horror movie and just get someone new.
Yeah,
That
I don't really have a good answer. That type of question, I
um,
kind of. We've answered that type of thing before. I never really have a good answer for it. Um, we got a few more here. Asking again only for the special guests. Oh, we don't have any special guests, so I'll just save that. All right. We got a very similar question from both Bunny and Van. So shout out both Bunny and Van for asking the same type of question. If any, if any, what's a scene that scared / horrified you the most to a point it stays with you? Um, hmm.
um, hmm.
um, the
Because
final scene in Saw has kind of burned itself into my mind because I saw it on TV when I was kind of young. Involving a saw and a foot that kind of burned. It didn't really scare me, but it's just like it's kind of burnt into my memory.
I was terrified as of Chucky when I was a child, so I was like paranoid that this doll would be like behind me or near me, hidden in the shadows or some shit.
I think we talked about this very similar when we talked about like the childhood, what traumatized you as a child. The scene in From Dusk Till Dawn when all the vampires or when all the people turn into vampires. That scene kind of stuck with me just because I was young when I saw it.
Yeah,
Other than that, really,
recently, just the entirety of Possession.
fuck yeah, great movie.
Yeah, that's about it. That's all I have to say.
What else? I'm trying to think. I feel like there is something. It doesn't have to be a horror movie. It can just be anything.
Scene that's horrified me most to a point that it stays with me. The big reveal in The Brood by Cronenberg.
I haven't seen that.
It's my favorite Cronenberg movie.
There's a scene, the last shot of the David Lynch film Lost Highway. It didn't scare me or horrify me, but it very much confused and unsettled me the first time I seen it.
Speaking of that, the ending of Twin Peaks season 3.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one. That entire show, the whole third season, kind of creeped me out a lot in parts. There's some pretty creepy shit going on in there. Yeah, that's about it. I don't think I think we answered the question well enough.
I think I got like 2 more.
Okay.
There's the climax of Lake Mungo. That one scene, if you know, you know.
Yes.
What was the other one I was going to fucking say? Shit, what was it? Fuck. I just had it, but then I got distracted by something else. What fucking scene horrified me or stuck with me?
There's a very infamous scene in Irreversible, which usually sticks with people who watch it. I'm not gonna. If you know, yeah, you know.
I mean, I think that's it. That's all I could think of at the moment.
Yeah, I don't have. Like I've said a billion times before, there's not a lot of stuff that scares or horrifies me anymore. So most of the stuff would be stuff I saw as a kid, and we kind of talked about that in one of the previous episodes. So that's about it. Next episode will be the last episode of October. So, our last horror episode of the month, where we'll be talking about some classic slasher movies. 4 of them in particular. Which ones are we going to be talking about over here?
Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Texas Chain Saw Massacre.
Yes, that's going to be epic. I recently saw 2 of those in a drive-in theater, and it was epic.
There is also another episode that we are going to record next weekend.
We might.
Yeah.
Are we going to do that, or are we going to do that in November?
I feel like I don't know. Shit.
Because, we can do that since it's horror month, but, we don't have to. We can just push that off to a later date and do a full episode. I could, rewatch it and take a bunch of notes and stuff.
I mean, I feel like we should kind of do it so we don't, fucking put another horror movie in November. But I don't know. I mean, it's not
like we're gonna stop talking about horror. I know what you mean. We very much might have 2 episodes coming out next Monday.
Yeah.
So that might be kind of epic. And there might be a very, very special guest coming on as well. Possibly 2 of them, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe we'll just do the slasher movies. I don't know. But yeah. So check that out if you want. Check out the letterbox. That'll link and everything, and the YouTube channel. Go over there and leave a like on the video if you're listening to on Spotify, because that what does that do? What does leaving a like do? It lets us know that you like it. So
Yeah.
you can't do that on Spotify. So yeah, maybe hit the notification bell and that subscribe button as well. And yeah, that's about it. So see you next week.
Adios. Yeah, you, Craig.
Bruh.